I'll admit I'm nowhere near as dapper as John Steed. You know, the Avengers has established itself as a cult TV show, probably one of the most popular cult TV shows of all time. The Avengers, of course, is far more popular in England and parts of Europe than it is in the United States, and for many years it's been very difficult for American fans to get their hands on all or even most of the episodes. This is further complicated by the fact that most of the episodes from the first season are completely lost, and most of the home media releases for those early episodes haven't been in print for around 20 years, I would say, and many of them command exorbitant prices on the second-hand market. An easy Avengers product to find, of course, is the 1998 movie adaptation, movie remake that nobody enjoyed, but we're not going to talk about that today because that's not really important to our discussion. Rather, I thought we should take a little look at StudioCanal's Avengers Tara King collection release. This is actually an Australian release, but as it's a region-free Blu-ray, I decided to take a gamble and buy it and make sure it would work on American machines, and indeed it does. Now, the United States has been lucky in the regard that we've gotten all of the Emma Peel episodes of the show. We got this big green mega set that I'm sure many other fans besides myself have. 2 volumes here, both look like that contain every single Emma Peel episode. Not a lot of frills on these releases, sadly. You know, it's pretty much just the episodes and some light special features, still galleries and things like that, but nothing of great substance. No, you know, special commentaries by Diana Rigg or Patrick McNee or anything like that. But this was a really good way for me getting into the Avengers to build my collection very quickly. Again, these had been released previously in the early mid-2000s, but they released them by year in several separate volumes, and it was very difficult to obtain a complete set. Indeed, the pre-Emma Peel episodes, the Cathy Gale episodes, still can only be purchased in those volume sets. I believe the orange 1962 DVD release, that one usually sells for well over $100. Very difficult to find. Not ready to shell out for that just yet for a handful of episodes. But we've got this Emma Peel set, and this was later updated to Blu-ray, I believe given a design very similar to this, which we'll get into in a second. But the point is, Emma Peel, if you're looking for her episodes, you can find them. Probably no matter where in the world you are. The most popular episodes of the Avengers. And last December, StudioCanal decided to follow up Emma Peel with a Tara King collection. Here's the little info card from the back of the box. This was originally shrink wrapped, and this card was very lightly adhered above Miss King. But this set doesn't just feature all the Tara King episodes, but it also includes a lot of bonus features and very interesting curios, and so we'll get into those right now. So it's been a while since I've done an unboxing for you. So real quick, another look at each side of the box for you. Very nice artwork. Top lifts off. It is also reversible, so if you wanted to have, you know, blue and orange, orange and blue, you could do that if you wanted to. And the Avengers, the Tara King collection there on the top. So we have several individual Blu-rays. Take the first one out for you. This says The Avengers Series 6, Files 1 through 3 from Imprint Television. Patrick McNee on the front. Him and Linda Thorson as Tara on the back. The Forget-Me-Not, the first episode to feature Tara King, was included on the Emma Peel set. I think every Emma Peel set has that, where Tara King meets John Steed for the first time. The very famous scene of Emma saying, he likes his tea stirred anti-clockwise. That kind of thing. If you open these up, we have episode descriptions, something that Emma Peel DVD set did not have, so you get a rough idea of who's in it, what it's about. Flip the sleeves there. There's more description under that last disc. These do work on all the American players have tried them on, as they're region free. So that was really nice. Here is Series 6, Files 4 through 6. John Steed on the front. And again on the back. That's what I should have got, a boutonniere. Didn't even think of it. Again, open them up there. And just like before, we'll turn them so they're the right way up. The rest of the descriptions are underneath that last disc. Usually, I believe 3 or so per episode, 3 or 4 episodes per disc, I should say. Not too bad. And here we have Series 6, Files 7 through 9. Linda Thorson as Tara King. Nice picture of her on the back. And we'll open that one up too. Descriptions are underneath the discs there. This has a bonus disc, and this was one of the things that really fascinated me because this is called The Avengers, The Early Years. And I'll show you that disc again. So this didn't just feature, you know, the last several episodes with Tara King, but also included a few very early episodes. The very first season of The Avengers, which is mostly lost now, featured Ian Hendry as Dr. David Keel, and then Patrick Macnee's John Steed was kind of his assistant, and they went after drug dealers. That's how it got its title, actually. Dr. Keel was avenging the murder of his wife by drug dealers, so they were hunting them down and killing them all, that kind of thing. And I think there's about 3.5 of the first season left. We get 2.5 of them on this last disc. We get the surviving fragments of the pilot episode Hot Snow, and we get 2 of the full surviving Season 1 episodes. The only one we don't get, I believe, is Tunnel of Fear. That one's not on here. That was rediscovered maybe 6 or 7 years ago, roughly. I know it's a fairly recent rediscovery, and it's in a private collection, so maybe the owner doesn't want to part with it. But we get those early Season 1 episodes, which I believe are released to home media for the first time in the US. They didn't have their own collection that I'm aware of, and they weren't bonus features on any other sets that I know of either. So that's kind of nice. We also get a couple of the Honor Blackman, Cathy Gale era episodes. And I know Mr. Teddy Bear is one. I forget what the other one is off the top of my head, but we get a couple of them. So those have been released to DVD and VHS a long time ago, but now they're getting a Blu-ray release here, which is really nice. So I like that Avengers early years set, really nice inclusion. There's also audio reconstructions of several of the lost episodes using like screen captures and things like that, and they have an actor come in and kind of read pieces of the script, and it works really well. I watched a couple of those. I mean, it's not the same as watching the finished product, but it gives you a good idea of what the story was about and kind of the tone of the show. It's hard to believe this started as a show about hunting down and killing drug dealers and evolved into, you know, carnivorous mind control plants from outer space and things like that. So really fun there. Our last Blu-ray, then we'll get into the booklet here, is actually a feature film, Mr. Jericho from 1970. So Patrick Macnee apparently was going to have a new program, Mr. Jericho. This was the pilot from what I gather, but it was later re-edited into a made-for-TV film. You can see Herbert Lom there on the inside of the box. He was Inspector Dreyfus in the Pink Panther films. But now for the first time on Blu-ray, thanks to Imprint, we have Mr. Jericho in its entirety, digitally restored. I don't know much about it. Even in like Avengers circles, it doesn't seem to be discussed a great deal. So it's kind of nice to have it though. A cool curio. And Patrick Macnee, of course, had a pretty, you know, long and interesting film career. Of course, this is Spinal Tap, the 1950s version of The Christmas Carol, View to Kill, of course, with Roger Moore. So he was in quite a few different films. He even did a voiceover cameo in the 1990s reboot movie. So good to see we got a starring vehicle for him, because after all, he was the Avenger that stuck around the longest, and it certainly probably impacted his career more than anything else. And lastly, we get a booklet. I know when they redid the Tara King release into Blu-ray, they have a booklet for that too. It's not a very big booklet, as you can see, but that's alright. I'll show you some of the photos and stuff. It has an essay, there's a picture, essay about, you know, Linda Thorson taking over the role, the production, things like that are all in there too. There's some interviews with various individuals. Very detailed, a lot of info. And there's a scene of Emma Peel and Tara King meeting before Emma Peel bows out and leaves with her husband. Picture of Patrick Macnee. McNee right there. Good stuff. And this has a little bit that talks about each and every episode, production stuff, whatnot. Again, not a huge book, but very comprehensive overall. Behind the scenes, I'll skip forward ahead. Here's the section that talks about each episode in a little bit more detail. And then lastly, there's kind of a retrospective bit. Here's Patrick McNee with all the Avengers girls there. Honor Blackman as Cathy, Diana Rigg as Emma, Linda Thorson as Tara. All doing that kind of stuff. So very, very interesting. All in all, very nice set. Mine was about $150 US. Again, this was, I believe, originally an Australian release. Look at the bottom of the box. I'll show that to you too. You can see the Australian kind of sticker there at the bottom. Through Imprint and StudioCanal. All in all, I'd say it was a pretty darn good set. And if you're into the Avengers or maybe just getting into it, I'd say it was a worthy purchase. Alright, good thing I've got my umbrella. I'm ready to go out on my next adventure. I'll see you next time. Thank you.